everybody, Gina DeLuca here. Okay, I am playing around with a new pouring medium today. Well, new for me anyway. This is the TriArt Liquid Glass. I love this stuff as a varnish. It's gorgeous as a varnish. And I want to play around with this with the pouring medium and see what happens. What I've noticed already, I have these this mixed with pigments, and I'll tell you what they are. But one very clear difference between this pouring medium and say Floetrol or mix, the pigments are much truer in color. You know, because it's more clear than mix or Floetrol, which kind of has more of a milky look to it. So, you know, generally these chameleon pigments, this is the Stuck Up Pig Pompous. It usually kind of has like a grayish purple look to it, but you can really, really see the color in it now. This is a very dark color, so it's not the best example, but you can also see with the interference paints, the interference kind of comes through a lot better. And it, you know, when the other pouring mediums dry, you know, it's the same effect. Once they're dry, it dries clear, so, you know, you get what you're going to get. But this stuff is very, very glossy. So, you know, when you have a gloss with a pigment, with something sparkly, the glossier it is, the more sparkly it's going to be because you have more light refraction. That's why, you know, when I do straight pours with metallics and Floetrol, the Floetrol makes it look matte. So when it's dry and unvarnished, it is, you know, not quite as remarkable as it is once I put a bunch of varnish on it and it really starts to get that light refraction. And then you really start getting that 3D effect and the super blingy sparkle. So I want to see what happens when we start off with something that is already glossy. So the colors that I have today for my base coat background color, I have Liquitex Basics Dioxazine Purple and Prussian Blue. If you have these two colors, just do yourself a favor and mix them together. It is such a pretty, pretty color. And you could add a touch of white to it to brighten it up if you need to. But by itself, even, you know, if you're looking for a dark background, but you really don't want just a full black, this is gorgeous, gorgeous. So I mixed about 1 part paint to probably actually 4 parts of the liquid glass until I got the consistency that I wanted, which was the consistency of the liquid glass, because that's what all of these pigments are going to be. And it does seem to go a long way, so pigments. I have the Interference Green by ColourArte from the Bling It line. And I have Interference Violet as well. Again, this is the Stuck Up Pig from Fluid Art Company in Pompous. Really cool color shift. Part of it is like a deep red. There's some flashes of orange in there. There's some purple. So I kind of figured that I would, you know, use this color palette because we have the orange in this color, which is the Golden Peach. And then this one is Enchantment. So the colors in the Golden Peach and the Enchantment, you know, there's like certain colors within Pompous that I think would go with both of those. So that is what led me down the path for this particular color palette. And the pigments are just mixed. I put a little bit of the liquid glass in my cup and add my pigment while wearing a mask. Always wear a mask. If the pigments get in your lungs, that doesn't come out ever. So wear a mask. That is not something you can undo, and it is something you will deeply regret if you mess around there. So a little bit of the pouring medium, your pigment, mix it together gently, slowly, so it doesn't puff up everywhere. And then once that's all incorporated, then I add some more of my pouring medium. Before we get started, have you seen the Fluid Art inspiration cards? If you have, you can fast forward about a minute, but if you have not, what we have are 52 cards. There are 42 technique cards, and each technique card has an associated video here on YouTube that gives you all of the information that you need, the exact paint brands, color, recipe, consistency, of course, the technique itself, all of the stuff that I cannot fit on a card. This is the picture of the painting in that particular video. This box contains a tip for that particular technique, and here at the bottom you have the color palette that was used in that painting. And then these two boxes can be used together as the basis of a 2-color palette, or you can build off of those 2 colors. And there are also 8 bonus color palette cards. Each one has 5 color palettes. You can use all of the colors or just some of the colors. Mix and match the bonus color palette cards with the technique cards, and you have more combinations than you could ever paint in a lifetime. These are available at my website, GinaDeLuca.net, and also at Amazon.com. Okay, I'm switching over to voiceover here because I am going at double speed, laying down a base coat so that I have something to blow those paints around on. I have Satchmo in my lap, and he is digging his claws into my leg. So if I squeal all of a sudden, that's why. Yes, so I made sure that my edges were covered as well to get them nice and primed. You can see how glossy this is. It looks like a mirror. Added a bit to the center there, and I'm going to come in with my pigments. And I've been, you know, playing around with this technique and trying to perfect it. It gets a little better every time. Usually. It's getting there. There's a learning curve anytime you're trying something new. I'm loving these colors together. Very surprised when I do finally blow this out. And you can see my work surface isn't level because it does move around a lot. But you'll see when I blow this out, like all of those colors just kind of disappear, which definitely surprised me. All of that golden peach gets swallowed up. I don't know if I put in too much of that base color. Maybe. I felt like there was more golden peach in there than that base color, so I was really expecting a lot more of that to show up. You can see the shine on that is absolutely glorious. This pouring medium really does give you a great idea of what the true colors are. Yeah, see, it just swallowed it right up. Gone. Never to be seen again. So now I'm just trying to feather that out to the edge. Trying to work it. Trying to get it as close to the edge as I can before I spin it. Yeah, okay. So yes, there was a cut there. I did another round of pigments, spun it out, wasn't much different, did yet another round of pigments and spun it out, and then that's what you see here. I'm basically just doing the same thing that I'm doing, trying to switch up what I'm putting there because I really want that golden peach to show up, and it just kept disappearing on me. You can see I just added the tiniest bit of that background color. And it's still is hard to see. It just kept disappearing on me. And at this point, I'm like, okay, how am I going to rescue this? More golden peach. I'm just going to keep bringing in those lighter colors, praying for contrast. And I did not add any of that background color this time. It just seems to keep popping up through those other colors. I am determined to get something that looks like a flower here. Okay, and then I'm bringing in my lines, the in between the petals, the separation. Making sure to not get all the way into the center. You don't want to bring it all the way in. And now I'm trying to figure out what kind of center. What's the center on this one going to be? They always seem to take on a mind of their own. And I tried to do a little double blossom center, and once again, that background color just kind of swallowed that up. And adjusting the lines. So now I'm putting these little squiggles kind of on the outside to kind of tidy up the edges of the petals and give them a bit more distinction between that background color. And doing the same with the center. Kind of giving a little squiggle, working my way in towards the center. Trying my best to make this look like something here. My secret blonde hair. I haven't really posted any pictures yet of my blonde hair on the internet. Only little sneak peeks of it in the videos when I lean over too far. And I am tidying up the edges again because this stuff is, you know, very varnish-like. You want to make sure your edges are smooth. You don't want those drips to be hard. Okay, I am going to show you the dried piece, but I just wanted to do a shot of the wet piece so we can just see how it changes. You can kind of see that little technique that I did in the center there where I kind of spiraled that inward. Kind of gives it a bud-like appearance. Messing around with all those centers, trying something new every time. But as you can see, so this is wet with the TriArt Liquid Glass, and you can see how much of the pigment is actually showing already. A lot of other pouring mediums, you wouldn't get that. So I really like this as a pouring medium so far. I mean, for this, you know, there's a learning curve. It's a different kind of texture, not texture, but they all kind of have their own properties. Like Floetrol is kind of slick. Some are very sticky. But yeah, so that's what we're working with right now, and then we'll let it dry and see what it looks like. Stay tuned. Okay, here it is. Well, the finished piece is a bit disappointing as far as the composition. The finish is beautiful. The colors are magnificent. I can't complain about that, but you can see that the flower did not hold up its shape at all. So here's what I think is going on. Some really like interesting like close-ups, but you know, when you back out, it kind of stops looking like a groovy flower and more like a hot mess. But what I think is happening is the liquid glass is about a 2, a thinner 2 on my consistency scale. So I could even possibly say maybe a 1.5. But let's say 2, 1 3/4. It is also self-leveling. So what is happening is because it is so thin and it is so good at self-leveling, you know, I'm blowing this paint around and some spots are thinner than others because that is just the nature of what happens when you blow the paint. And then when it tries to level, it is pulling the paint in different directions to make that happen. So I think if I were to use liquid glass again, I would perhaps mix in a bit of a gloss medium, like a heavy gloss medium to thicken it up. To give more stability. If you've watched my video on consistency, my consistency scale, you see the chameleon pigs in there, so cool. And the consistency scale, the lower it is on the scale, the more likely you are to get cells. So when you want cells, you want thinner, you want less stability. The thinner it is, the less stability it has, the more likely it is to create cells without silicone. I mean, these colors are magnificent. I'm going to have to figure out something to do with this. I might have to come in with a brush and do a little something, because I hate to waste this, any of it. I'll figure something out. But yeah, so the thinner your consistency, the less stability, the more likely you'll get cells. And then if you're doing something, you know, the impressionist or something that you don't want to change, then you go on the thicker end of things. So that is my assessment of what happened here. But the colors are still really pretty. Just a darn tootin' shame that it didn't hold up composition-wise. But anyway, that's it. That's what we have for today. I hope you learned something. I sure did. An expensive experiment that you didn't have to pay for. So if you enjoyed this, please do like, share, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, please make sure you click that bell so you are notified when I put up new content. If you haven't clicked the bell, you're probably not getting the notifications. Check out the description box below for links to my affiliates. You'll find coupon codes in my affiliate links, and if you use those codes or those links, I will receive a small commission at no additional cost to you on anything that you purchase off of those sites. That includes Amazon. So if you're buying a washing machine off of Amazon, please use my code. Use my link, pretty please. Won't cost you anything more. Also in the description box, you will find the link to my website, GinaDeLuca.net, where you can find my art and music and the fluid art inspiration cards for sale. And last but not least, you will find the link to our Facebook group. Go make some art. Join us there. Post your masterpieces. Get some questions. A good time is had by most. It is the internet after all. Okay, that is it for me for today. I hope y'all have a beautiful day. Now go make some art.